Hello everyone, welcome to I think it's the first live stream we've done with the new office setup. So yeah, what do you think of the new look? Yeah, and today we are looking at Mimic again. So Mimic is, if you don't know already, is the game I'm making. And we're in a position now where the gameplay is pretty much there. We're just ironing out some problems with regards to bugs. And in particular, matchmaking. And so what I want to look at today is, with you supporting me behind my back, is go through the network connectivity of people when joining the game. So I'm going to explain what we're currently doing, think about, brainstorm why I think it's going wrong, and then try and come up with a solution. Okay? So yeah, we're going to do that. So if you're new to network connectivity, like matchmaking things and so on, this would be great because you get to see behind the curtain a little bit of how all that works, but also just the sort of the logic behind it too, and how we are approaching it. Because yeah, so we've done some closed beta tests recently, and it was trouble connecting in some cases, and not everyone was getting the right role, so that was obviously an issue. And I thought I've done a fix to fix it, but I think I broke it and make it worse. So we need to figure out what's going on there. Yeah. When will the next question time be? Yes, apologies. So question time has been a bit delayed lately because of just busy with things. So this past week, I was invited to the Turkish embassy, and I did a lot of stuff there. A sort of like a reception for celebrating games and those who are prevalent in the games industry in the UK. So that was quite cool. And then it was a lot of stuff with publishers and meetings, and yeah, it kind of ate up the last couple of weeks. So I'm hoping to be back on track with them this week coming. I am out on the Thursday, but that should clear us up for the Wednesday. So I hope, fingers crossed, we can go ahead and use the question time on Wednesday. I'm good, Red Fog. How you doing? Good to see you again. Been a while since I've seen you pop up in the chat. Hi, Omega. And Ruba, you just got here. What data storage are you using for in-game currency? At the moment, it's just local. So this would actually be a stat we're going to track on the back end, and then we'll use that same stat to track what kind of currency they have, so they can't just hack it. But yeah, that's what we're doing with that. Right, Unreal's loaded up. I'm going to try and get more center because the new table setup is a bit weird. So I'm going to just try and sit here. There we go. There we go. Can you release a multiplayer game using voice chat made with EOS? Yes. So Mimic has that enabled. It doesn't always work. That's something we need to fix, but it's not on the priority list at the moment. The priority list for Mimic is the network connectivity in matchmaking. So get people to connect and travel together to the next map and start the game. So let's talk a bit about what's going on here. I mean, on stream, yeah, when I figure out a good way of doing it with Mimic, yes. Data storage options do we have from indie games to make it cheap but scalable? Yeah, the stat stuff is doable. You can do it with the stat systems that they have for like Steam and EOS. That's totally fine. Okay, so the main thing we're looking at doing is going to the menu map, and that's right. Yeah, stats are an interesting thing because you don't have to use them for stats. You can use them for other things too. And it's going to store stats for you, so you can just pull stats off the thing. If you're doing something a bit more elaborate, then yeah, you need to do like a whole server, a database backend thing. Being a bit slow today. Make sure I've got nothing else running. Hold on. All good. So a bit of background context. So Mimic uses client server model, so not a dedicated server. The reason being is dedicated servers are expensive, and yeah, we don't want to spend all our money on dedicated servers if we don't have it. So, and secondly, the gameplay for the game is relatively slow. So it's not like Call of Duty where you have to make sure everyone's is hit scan accurate. It's relatively slow, so we don't have to worry about the accuracy of that too much. So it's not too bad. Ruba, yeah, but they can't just go into Notepad and edit anyway. Like your save files, if you've ever opened them up, they're encrypted, so they're not easy to open up and hack away. But if you want to, and say Steam, yeah, you can do it with stats. Do it with the stat system. Okay, so here is our main menu, and this is the flow that we have currently. Let me switch over to multi-streamed chat. There we go. So a few things I think people haven't seen really is the login now is a remember me section on it, so it can remember when you last log in. So just have to enable that, and it should log us in. There we go. How do you implement client prediction? Do you use a plugin or is there an easy way? So the online multiplayer subsystems already have elements of prediction and rollback. They are baked into the engine. They will handle that for you. There are obviously different methods of doing this, and they can be plugged in. Yeah, with plugins. Yeah. Yeah. So the idea is they go to matchmaking. And it'll create a session. And when they create a session, they're thrown into a lobby. And this is where all the other players will join in. Now, in matchmaking, you won't have a start button, but for testing, we have a start button. But in matchmaking, it will wait for 5 people to turn up and then hit start on its own. And rule sets are only available to you in closed lobbies. So everyone would turn up here and appear on the list, appear in the scene, and then hit start. Now, at this point, you're all connected in here. When you hit start, it's then going to, at the moment, it stores how many people are in the room. And when it transfers over to the next level, the main game, it then waits to see if everyone turns up. So, yeah, so this hopefully will allow them to travel. This doesn't look like, oh wait, this won't work because we're not in standalone. Oh. Yeah, server traveling doesn't work with, seamless travel doesn't work with standalone, without standalone. We'll try that again. Is there a reason why no one giving the player the option for creating a own dedicated servers back in the CS 1.6 days? Yeah, money. Simple as that. If you want to create your own dedicated server, I mean, that's what it essentially you're like. Don't forget what dedicated server actually means. Dedicated server is just a server that's people connecting to. Client server relationship is dedicated in the sense that everyone's connected to the same server. It's you, the player. But the problem is obviously your internet is not great, so you want to hire a server somewhere else. Now the problem is that hiring costs money. And so who's going to foot the bill for that? Is it going to be the player or is it going to be the developer? And in like some games, you can do that. You can hire out a server and have it turned on all the whole time. Minecraft does it currently with their realm stuff. What kind of networking does Phasmophobia use? I don't know. I didn't work on that game. But I assume it's the same as what I'm doing. Just because it's, I say, expensive to do dedicated servers. Like a very high monthly cost. It scales, so the more people that play it, the more expensive it gets. But the idea is that the more people playing the game, the more money your game is making. Oh, I've got to do a whole login thing. Hold on. Always forget my password. And that's it. Oh, I need to do two-factor now. Will Mimic be released on Steam as well? Yes. That's right, Rubidev. Yeah, indie games typically don't do it because they don't have the ongoing support like that. Right, we've got matchmaking. So this game will have some in-game monetized things, but you can also earn it all in-game. You don't have to pay for it. Right, yeah, as I said, so when we hit start, the game is storing how many people it's expecting. So 1. And then when it gets through the other side, it will then count as people join in how many has it got. And in this case, you should get 1, and then you should start the game. But there's a problem with that. And I've got a few theories as to why. Oh, damn shaders. So I've got a few theories as to why that's the case. Why it's not working. So through experimentation, we'll just wait and see this come through first. And I can show you the code and then talk about it a bit more. Yeah, that's right, Davey Blade. It's probably the same as everyone else's indie game. Same as this. Peer-to-peer. It's just quite confusing because it's commonly known as peer-to-peer, but it's not technically peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer assumes no one is in charge and everyone is sharing the same responsibility, but it's not. One person's in charge, which is the client-server model. So, yeah. Preparing shaders, yeah. Obviously, in the full game, there's no shaders to prepare because it's all already done for you. So you don't have to worry about that in the full game. But hire a server means to pay for the server online, like a master server, right? Okay, but who owns these servers? Also, bear in mind, back in the day, bandwidth was also a lot more expensive, and also you weren't sending as much data across the bandwidth. But as you can see, it's detected that one player has joined, i.e. me, and the game has started. Okay. There's been a few graphical updates to the level as well, like more decals and things like that, damage and some lighting improvements. We've got a hint system in there now. More than SA damage there. But as you see, it seems to work just fine when it's just one person. The problem though is when you get multiple people. I'll show you another thing as well. Mimic does have voice chat. Yeah, it doesn't work yet, but it is in there. So added some more controls for settings. So we've got motion blur, you can disable and enable. So I can disable that. That will increase your frame rate quite a lot. Anti-aliasing as well, you can change this as well to different anti-aliasing methods if you want. You can change the gamma. Image quality, windowed, resolution, all that can be changed. Sound, standard. Controls, you can rebind the controls, change the look sensitivity on the controller. Accessibility options, we can turn off the hints, icon color, we can change the color to whatever we like. And subtitles we can have off and on, but that's not hooked up yet. So we've got a few things in there. There's the store stuff. I mean, it's all placeholder at the moment. Yeah, stuff like that. Anyway, so that's what we've got to do. So this is why making multiplayer games is difficult, because I've got to fix this without being able to test it easily. So let's figure it out. So what I'm planning on doing is doing like basically a run through, a clean up, and sort of rejig, all that sort of stuff. Pretty much every EOS game gets pirated with working multiplayer. Can that easily be prevented? Beyond the usual anti-cheat stuff and no DRM, no. Is it a good idea to have the user choose between real-time lighting and bait lighting, or should I be using bait lighting to ensure everyone can play the game? You can't really have one or the other easily. I mean, you could. I mean, I guess you could. I would not. The difference would be so extreme, especially for a multiplayer title. I wouldn't. I would just have it fixed to one. Okay, so the way this works. If I go to the Mimic game mode, we need that. So we're going to open up everything we need. And I'll show you the flow and where I think it's going wrong. So we've got that. Game instance we need as well. I'll put that in there. Maybe a player controller we might need. But yeah. Anywho, so the Mimic game mode. So when we also go to lobby as well. Hold on. Menus, lobby game mode. Okie dokie. So in the lobby, let me just move this aside. We don't need that. Okay, so on post login. So post login gets called as soon as someone logs into the server and connects. We then get the connecting player. We find them. We get them up like that. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the lobby state references. So this is pretty simple. All it's going to do is check whether the connecting player is the same as the local player controller. So basically, is it the host that's joining? Yeah. Are we the host? And if we are the host, get the lobby game state and store it, because they'll have the game state on them. Then we go through and add all of our connected players together. Okay, so this is like keeping track of who's connected in the lobby, and we've got a lobby widget which shows the lobby. Then we delay for 2 seconds, and then we update the player info on the right hand side. So the little list that appears in the lobby, that gets updated after 2 seconds. And once it goes through, we clear the connected player and ready to start again. Okay. Pretty standard, pretty simple. And on logout, we do the same thing, but we just take them out and tell them the whole game that we've taken out. So, when we travel to the Mimic game mode, the way this works is it doesn't use login because we're not logging in like that. It uses on-swap player controllers because we're doing seamless travel. And on seamless travels, we've got the old controller, we've got the new controller. And we're just transferring over. So things like the player's chosen, like the class they've chosen, their Twitch username, because there's Twitch support in there. That's all going across, and we're setting all that here. And we're adding the player controllers to this as well. So this also has a list of the player controllers coming in. Okay, so in so that happens like that. Now, once it's doing this, we've overridden this ready to start match function. So this is a function you can override in the game mode, and by default, this just turns on straight away. We're intersecting it and saying don't start the match just yet. So when you don't start the match, you spawn in it as a spectator, and you just hover around until this returns true. When it returns true, begin play fires off everything. So this begin play doesn't actually fire off until it's ready to go. Okay. So a couple of things I did last time. I was in here fixing things. So it's ready to start match. This was the original thing in here. So no, not that. It was this number of traveling players. This number of traveling players was the only thing we were checking. I think though this was a problem because if they're still traveling from a previous map, they may not have started that travel yet. So I don't think that's a realistic thing to keep track of. Not as stable anyway. The next thing I'm checking here is checking how many player controllers we've got stored in our array. Remember, our array is building every time someone crosses over, building it up here. So when that array length is equal to the number of players connected in the game instance. So when I push the button, the game instance is storing how many in an integer players are connecting up. And if they're equal and the number of players traveling is less than or equal to 0, that job becomes true and it can start the match, which we saw working. Okay, that goes through. But one thing people noted, and we noted as well when we done the beta test, was the assign roles bit. So in assign roles, the way this works is we copy all the player controller array over to a local variable, and we take a for loop, and the for loop goes through the number of mimics we're looking for. In this case, we're looking for 1, so it'll do this thing once. And it will do a local chosen controller at random from the array. It will then store that and then add it to the mimic controller. So I've got down here 3 arrays: mimic, agent, and crew. So we know who is who. And we set their player role on the controller, and we remove the chosen controller from the local all controllers. So the list of available controllers to choose from gets lower. Now the problem we are seeing is that almost everyone that was joining was becoming a mimic for some reason. So assign roles was happening for everyone, but remember, this is the game mode, so only the server runs this. So at what point is it calling assign roles again and again and again? So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all check that I'm not calling this anywhere else by accident. Looks okay. Let's search all our blueprint. Bearded wrench to prevent pirates. Can you check CD key upon authority? Yeah, I mean, that's what they do. Steam and Epic, yeah, and all of them, they will do that. They check that you've actually got it in your account. What do you use C++ for Mimic? Currently, nothing. But we probably will do, but at the moment, nothing. If the game runs well, at the moment it runs about 90 FPS on my machine. So, yeah, it's not too bad at the moment. Okay. So, yeah, I didn't even look at that. There wasn't anywhere else, was it? No. So how the hell is this getting called? So this says it's true. Ready to start match. Right. Now, ready to start match, by the way, happens all the time, like a tick. So I'm wondering if my assigned roles would be better off not there, but put it somewhere like begin play, where it's far more likely to happen. So when we do that, we destroy the session. Destroying the session, by the way, just closes it from being available, so no one can join your game mid-game, basically. It stops advertising it. And we just assign the roles this way. Okay. Assign roles to those guys. Okay, so the thing I'm looking at here that I've got another issue to worry about then is the mimic player controller, because bear in mind the begin play is going to fire off for everything. That includes this chat. So begin play is going to get the instance, do the music stuff, and then get the camera fade, init controller. Init controller gets the player state, controls, no problem. Where are we doing? I must be on the HUD. Not lobby HUD. Crap. Systems. Game HUD. So the HUD here is the thing that pops up the guide at the start telling you what role you're in. So when we start off here, again the player controller, the character, sorry, if it is valid, create main HUD. If we're not valid, it will go around, check every half second until it is valid. Get role. Now, I'm hoping that this will come after it's had a chance to do this begin play on the event on the game mode. I think it will, because it fires off once and that's it, and it should be fine. I might actually even put this before the destroy session, because destroy session here is latent, so I don't want to wait for it to finish before I do this. So just put that there. Okay. Solar flare timer again kicks off. Yada yada yada. Objective tracker. Can you show how you're adding to a player controllers array? Yeah, sure. So on the swap player controllers, I'm getting the old one and getting the new one, casting to each. The old one I'm casting to because I need to get hold of what like class they've chosen, and also later on it'd be like getting what rule set has been chosen, what clothing has been chosen, all that stuff. And also it gets their Twitch data too, so their Twitch data transfers over from their settings and into the game. So your Twitch followers and chat can interact with you. Was it difficult to consider order replication for multiplayer? Yes. It's put me off doing another multiplayer game in the future. But we'll see. We may get better, but it's the annoying thing is the not necessarily replication. It's this stuff, the connection stuff. The problem with connection stuff, and in general replication really, but the problem with the connection especially is everything happens at a weird time. You can't guarantee how far something's going to take. So you have to do a lot of like latent things like this destroy session, for example. We have to wait for things to happen. Sort of a handshake process to happen. And that's the frustrating part, is trying to account for all those different types of connections and different weirdness that happens. It can be quite stressful. But yeah, I think we're good. Okay, so the thing I want to do here is I want to test to see if I'm assigned a mimic role correctly. And importantly, I think I can try and run the game twice. We'll try and run two. Can't run two copies of it. Crap. No, I'll just do one. Well, let's just see if like I haven't broken anything, that we still can get into the game. Do you prefer blueprints to C++? Yes, because it is faster to iterate on and get to test ideas out. And I'm all for speed. Speed's better than anything else. So yeah, good. Just wait for this to kick in. Hey. I don't know what I've done, but I've really hurt my back. Oh, by the way, if you haven't seen, we've reached 100,000 subscribers. So thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed. It's a really cool achievement. I'm really excited and been looking forward to celebrating it. I'm going to get the plaque and put it over there, I think. Oh, on this one. I'll put it at the back somewhere. But yeah, super cool. So thank you, yeah, everyone. 1, 6, 8. Oh my god, my back. Also got re-evaluated as a gold tier, which is the top tier Unreal Engine instructor partner. So that's all good. Okay, let's see if this still works with just one person at least. Because if it doesn't work with one person, it's definitely not going to work with 2 people, so, or 5 people. Okay, so hit start. And away we go. Thank you. Been recording lots of cool stuff. Some really cool, useful things for people. We've got a new series coming soon to Patreon members. We're editing and making more videos for it first. And that's basically a kart racer like Mario Kart. Which has been quite cool. Showing how to set up a go-kart basically, all from scratch. So as you can see, that's brought us into the game just fine. No problem there. Cool, alright. Oh, these shaders. Making it very slow. Yeah, so let's say a few graphical updates here and there. I reworked the security console. We discovered some bugs with that. Now that got basically reworked from scratch and is now a lot more visual like this, and we can upgrade our security a lot nicer. Should be a lot more stable for people. I just noticed though the UI for the compass is showing all of the icons, which is not correct. We don't want that. Oh, here he comes. So there's a weird bug sometimes that happens. I need to check it while I'm here. Is sometimes he gets stuck. Nope, not the case. Okay, cool. We seem to have fixed that. Oh, I'm getting stuck. Oh no. We've got like these more posters and things like that. Just decorate the scene a bit better. Oh, he's got me. Rework some sound effects. Improve some of that area. Oh, he threw him on top of the chairs. But I think that's, I mean, that's good we're going to get it. I have to do a proper test with the beta testers in the week. So if you're on the part of the beta test team, keep an eye out for the next patch update and my Discord where I announce all that stuff. We'll arrange another time to go through it. But I went through a big list of things, like load of notes to fix, and I think I've got them all. Yeah. So yeah, pretty neat. Okay, so there's a couple of things I actually want to try out. So let's try some fun things out. Let's go to our development map. So whenever you're making a game, always make a development map where you can test things out without having to load up a billion shaders. Make your life a lot easier. This is my dev map. So all the items that I can interact with in the game are here. The Android I've locked up in here at the moment, but I'll let him out in a second. Yeah, because I want to check. I want to try and make a hiding system for this. So, at the moment you can hide from him. Like if he doesn't see you, he will not see you. But I want to try and make it a bit more, secure in the fact that I want to be able to peek and see the thing, but I don't want him to see me. So it's not like you can say like to the Android, only see them if you can see 100% of their body, or only see like 60% of their body. That you can't determine that. So what I'm going to do is, well, I had this idea in a week, and that was to set up a little blueprint. And this blueprint actor will be a hiding spot. And the hiding spot is going to be very simply just a box collision that will block his visibility. The thing is, though, if he's inside of it, it won't block it because obviously he can see you. Well, that's the theory behind it anyway. So the idea is that you could make this thing and say, like, if you're crouched and in here, you are hidden, unless it's in here with you. That's essentially the idea behind it. Now, the way I'm thinking of doing this is changing how this affects his vision distance. So at the moment, if I go to the Android, and go to his AI, well, sometimes in listen server environment, for example, the client connects fast enough through seamless travel, that it ends up as index 0 on the listen server, so you end up with an undesired. Yeah, it does. That's why I'm doing that check to make sure that the connection, whoever's connecting, is the host. We'll try and make them, but we're not using like input 0 in your array for all that stuff. I don't think so. But yeah, seamless travel, listen server stuff is a pain in the butt, which we're discovering. Okay. So his site config, right, is using the visibility part of his like eye line. Okay, so if I want this to work for this, I need to tell the hiding spot here to block visibility traces. So let's go into there, and I'm going to change that to block. Custom, set to block visibility traces. Everything else everything else can be ignored except for that. I believe that's correct. Yeah. And so the idea is, if I'm standing inside this, the Android should not see me. So let's test that theory out. I'm just going to move the wall open here. Let's get rid of the other player start. Just have one of them. And I'm going to put in that volume. Hiding spot. Make it nice and big. So hopefully he can't see me. Haha! It worked. So he can't see me if I'm in here. Okay? Yeah. Oh. No, he hasn't seen me. So he can't see me when I'm inside this little invisible box. Which is cool. That works. Okay. That theory works. But I only want him to not see me if I'm crouched or uncrouched in it. Okay. So if I'm crouched in it, I can change the settings of the collision. The problem is, though, is that obviously it's multiplayer title. What if there's one person in there that is crouched, another person that isn't crouched? We can't change the collision for both. Yeah, you can only respond to once. So let's figure out a way of doing that. Now, the way I'm thinking is we can make it a little Boolean check on our character to indicate whether or not they are, quote unquote, hidden from view. So let's try doing that. So crew, character, and we've got this, annoyingly, I think we've got is hidden as a thing. Stats, no. Attractions, no. Hold on. Measurement graph. Event graph. Hide. Okay, we're just doing crouch, uncrouch. We're not doing anything special. Okay, cool. So we'll do a Boolean check on here then, and say is hidden. Okay. So when I crouch, and I'm inside that thing, I want to turn this on. So BP hiding spot. So for this, I need to know who I'm going to be checking all the time. So I need to know when they're crouching or when they enter crouch. So we're going to go active begin overlap. Other actor, we'll just cast to the character. No, first person character. There you go. And then on that character, we're going to check if they are crouching. It's crouching. And then we do is hidden. Okay, so if I enter the box crouched, I'll be determined as hidden. If the although if I crouch whilst inside of it, that would need to track as well. So on first person character, I'm going to drag out here. No character movement. Crouched. We got no bent binding for that. No, of course we haven't. Crouch. Nope. What would be the best way of doing that? I guess I'm going to have to set up a crouch event dispatcher. Okay, we'll just do on crouched event dispatcher. And I'll have this output a boolean is crouching. So, no, not interfaces. The problem with interfaces in this case is that we are wanting to listen to an event happening. We don't really care about who we're talking to, necessarily. We need the player character to communicate when they've crouched. So, when crouch happens, we're going to put call on crouched, true. And when we finish uncrouching, we call that, and that's false. In the hiding spot, we are going to now bind event to crouch. Uncrouched. We will create an event. And we'll create a matching event. Character has crouched. And there'll be crouching or not. Okay, next I need to know, well, if they're hidden or not. So we're just going to do, I need to know who it is as well. Okay, I need to pass through that as well. So let me go back to the player character. This needs to know who is crouching. So I can adjust that accordingly. This would be a first person character. That was the right one, wasn't it? First. Yeah, that was on. Character. Compile. Refresh those, make them not ever. This is simply just self, that's all. Okay, so now my hiding spot knows which person, well, should do. Refresh that. Oh, I was going to, hang on. We have to make sure them signatures match, so first person character, compile that, and that should clean it up. Yep. Okay, so character has crouched. We're going to tell this character here is hiding, or is hidden, set is hidden to that. Okay. Oh, okie dokie. Okay, so if the player's crouched, that'll happen there. Obviously, another problem we've got to solve is if the android witnesses you just crouching, then obviously we don't like we don't want him to go, oh, well, where you gone? So if he sees you crouched, this is going to be null and void. So we need to check to see if this character is currently perceived. Now I can't remember if you can get that straight from the character. No. Okay, I think we're going to handle that on the Android side. I'll hand that on the Android side, I think. Also, when we leave the box, so an end overlap, we need to basically turn off this binding. So end overlap, and this would be basically the same. But that'd be false. And then we want to unbind. Unbind crouch. All events from crouched. Okay. Okay. Right, with that done, I'm also going to make this box a little bit easier to spot. Hold on. Let me just make that... In fact, I'll just take out that box in general. Do that. I'm going to change the collision settings on this. Custom. Query only. Ignore everything except for visibility traces. You're going to block that. And this will change the material to be see-through. Do I have a see-through material I can use already? That's the question. Highlighter. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, fine. Okay. My little hidden volume. Okay. So inside the volume, he can't see me. If I step out the volume, he will. But at the moment, like, he doesn't care if I crouch or anything like that, because he can see me. But let's see if I can lose sight of him. Hold on. Ah, shit. For God's sake. Right, let's revise this plan a little bit. So, okay, so if let's put this here, for example. The AI is pretty clever. He does have some unique things about him. So he's going to know where I am in here. Yeah. No? Ah, yeah. Okay, so that's another problem. Is I think his attack is using visibility traces, which this is obviously blocking. Okay. We can't have that. We need to change that. So let's go back to our character for the Android. Okay, I need to go. Oh no, he's not using those traces. He's using an overlap. Yeah, the way he works, he has these three, so he can do knockbacks if you try and stalk him from behind, and he's got this. This is where he grabs you. But why wasn't that triggering? Maybe just a weird bug. Maybe overlapping the box. No, it shouldn't be, because this is a wild dynamic object, and I told the hiding spot to ignore everything. No. You're welcome, Solid. Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to put my start spot then in here. He should come to this room. Oh, it sounds like he's staying in that room for a second. But if I'm crouched in here... He'll come here in a second. Okay, I think this actually might work quite well. If I... Okay, let's do another test. Let's make this really big to do this test. Is he still seeing me? Oh, yep, he definitely is. But not triggering. Okay. Okay, so that works as intended. So he can still see you. You're both inside the thing and not crouched, which is good. But his attack won't work. So if his attack's not working, why not? So the way the attack is working here is on begin overlap. We're overlapping. This thing should only overlap. We should ignore all that and just overlap pawns, really. We shouldn't care about anything else. Let's see if that still does it. Let's just put one there. Oh, there you go. But crouching shouldn't work. Oh, wait, no, why is he... Why did the crouch not pick me up? It should still be able to pick me up, even if I'm crouched. It's not... Oh, I'm underneath this at all. No, I shouldn't be. Let's check his code. The overlap for that. Can attack target. I'm not doing anything weird in here, am I? So when he's attacking, we're doing these certain various checks because we don't always want him to attack. And if we do want him to attack, we change issues like how he attacks. Because he has different animations. So can attack, it should be true. Has view of target. I think this could be causing an issue. View of target. Yep. Because the reason why we have to do that is because it is using a collision sphere. it could clip through the wall. You don't want it to attack you through the wall. So you have to put this in here. But this being a visibility trace, I'm guessing this is getting blocked by the trace. So if I change that to camera, does that break anything? Scooby. Why is he hovering? Oh, something weird happened there. Right, now he's not. No, broke something. Okay, so the camera trace is not a good idea because that doesn't work. Have I told the cat to ignore camera traces? No, I've told him to block camera traces. Okay. On hit instead of overlap, it'll check more often. The timing of the check-in is not the problem. The problem seems to be more to do with the channels. Nope. Because I'm using different channels for different things. Why? Block camera, yep. What are we doing on here? What was I doing with visibility then? Because I had it set to visibility. Camera trace. Oh, my bad. Okay, I know why. So yeah, the way the line trace was working is if it looks at the target and it doesn't have a collision, it is allowed to go. So the problem is that the camera collision is being blocked by the player character, which obviously I don't want to happen. But it makes me wonder, is anything else using it? I don't think so. I'll change it to overlap for now. The meshes and all that will set to custom. Overlap that. Ignore. No collision, no collision. No collision. Query. Okay. I think I know what was using. Hang on. There's the mimic uses it to eat players. Hold on. What does it? Let me double check. Eat player. Interact with. What are they using? What are we using for that? Hold on. Trace channel. Visibility default. Go to tick. Visibility. The mimic then is using. What are you using? Trace channel, trace. To search for it. Or not. Why is it not showing up there? Should do. Oh, interaction channel. Interaction channel. Mimic. Right, so long as this blocks mimic traces, Why was I doing that on then? Can't remember. Do you know it's using mimic traces? Is he blocking? I put that on block for mimic traces. It should be that. Because it was working, so I don't know how it was working. That's fine. We'll check it out. Okay. Yep, that worked. But let's see if the Yep, good. Let's crouch. It should still attack me. Yep. And I'm dead. Yeah, you can spawn as an omen. And as the omen, you can go around the ship and break stuff for other players. And to make them faster. So I could turn this off, for example. Because I lock doors. Do things like that. Okay, so I think this is going to require a bit of testing, but I think for the most part it kind of works. So the thinking I had with this whole thing, one thing I need to test with the mimic being able to eat other players. Hold on, let me just trap the android so it doesn't get in our way. Let's put another player in the scene. Bit loud, but don't know why it faced the wrong way, but there you go. Yeah, okay. Why was that? Oh, I think I've got a trigger. I've got a trigger volume that's doing that noise. Yeah, I have. That was what was that doing? So, yeah, it's there. Never mind. Okay, well that seemed to work. I can still eat them. No, right. So back to my thinking. What's time? Okay, we're okay. We can quickly do this, and I'll talk about my plan for this. So I want to give the player options to places to hide if they can get away from the android, because the android will still figure out what room you've gone into. And what I didn't want to happen was that you just walk into a room, and even though you've ran into a room, I want him to still struggle to find you. So if you're like hiding, that is. So we go to the map ship. is to put these sort of hiding spots in places. And so if you crouch in these hiding spots, they'll be invisible, but they'll be logical. So if they're behind desks, for example, if you're behind a desk and yeah, and things like that. I mean, it's not ideal because we have to do a thing to check to see. There's a few more caveats to this. I can see a few more problems. Shoot, yeah, there's a few more problems here, isn't there? Yeah, I'm gonna have to rethink this. I just thought of a problem. The problem is if, let's say I'm hiding there where that pad is, and we designate that's a hiding spot, for example. If the android comes up to you from behind, obviously you're in clear view. If you're crouched and inside of it, he won't see you, which obviously he can see you. We need another way of doing this because we want to know whether or not he can see all of you or just some of you. Okay, that's something to think about. Okay, that leaves me something to think about. Go back to the drawing board on that one. See if I can come up with a different response for that. It might have something to do with just handling how his behavior tree works in terms of when he sees the player and when he doesn't see the player. Just changing that around. What's happened here? Oh, shaders compiling. Yeah, there you go. Yes. Yeah, like for example, if the character was hiding here and I saw the android walking down the stairs, that's legit okay. Because he wouldn't be able to see you. But if I'm standing here, I guess actually I want to make like not volumes that you hide in.Maybe I need to do just blockers. So for example, yeah. Okay, let's try this. Hang on. Common hiding spot. So this hiding spot for this chair, for example, rather than thinking of it as a volume that the player can sit inside of, what if it's just like an invisible wall that's meant to block his view, which totally makes sense because that's what we're trying to do anyway. But visually, we can still see it. Like the player with our human eyeballs can see through the thing. And we don't need to worry about doing the checks about is hidden, not hidden type thing. If we're just crouching behind this pseudo wall, like we can still see through the gaps of the chair. If I make this sort of higher, so as high as not as high as the player character, but higher than when they're crouched. So how high is my player character? Hold on. Where am I going? Is 96, so nearly 200. So if I put that at a hiding spot of let's do 1.5. Right, we put up these sort of things here. Yeah, 1. So a little fake like force field basically, and that's the same height as the player character. So if I just put that up, not same height as the player character, it's like slightly shorter than the player character. Like that. So if we go back to the map, just reset the details of that. and put that to the floor, this should be taller than the player crouch. There's also the mimic, because they're short as well, but not high enough for them not to be seen if they are above it. Like standing up, basically. I think that's the way to do it. Is to do something like this. So again, put on the floor here. We just say designate, like, this is a potential hiding spot for the player. Even though they can see through it and they may be able to, like, sneak through, like, peering and peeking through the gaps, they are technically hiding from view. So if they stand here and no one walks in front of them and they're crouched, they won't get seen. I think that'll work. That sounds like a good plan. By the way, if you've ever wondered by this little technique, if you can't click on things because your mouse is going right through it because it's transparent, hit T. It lets you select transparent objects. Same goes with particles. If the particles keep clicking are in the way, hit T and you'll be able to click through the particles. So a little tip there for you. All right, so yeah, if we do this everywhere around the map where it makes sense for a player to be able to hide behind something. What do you think? Do you think that makes sense? That makes sense to me, I think, but let me know as well. Like, do you think there's an issue with that? Can you foresee any sort of weird moments that may not work? Like here, for example, do I want the player to be seen if they're like if they're crouched here? If that's the case, or not, I do want them to be hidden, I could do something like this. You know, and then the player is going to be hidden, but as long as they're crouched behind it, if you can stand up, their head's going to poke up over the top. So if they're crouched behind it, basically like a shield, I think that would work. But I don't think I'll put it on this bit, but the logic is there. Yeah, so do that. Like, for example, hiding here. Do you want to be able to crouch here? No. So I think I just need to go around the map thinking, like, where's good spots for the player to hide. Like, for example, we got these sort of things here. I can, like, duck in between here. They can't get seen unless I poke my head out. So, for example, if I put that... Is there a reason why the meshes collision cannot be used to block visibility? Because some meshes don't, like, for example, these boxes, they might have gaps in between them, which, you know, I mean, I could go in there and make the collisions all separate and big and all that stuff, but that's a very bespoke thing. It may be some cases where I'm using this box and I don't want it to be that big. Same with the chairs, like, I mean, we could edit the collision box to do the same thing, I guess. But there may be a case where I want the player to be able to click through and look and interact with things through gaps. But maybe you want to hide it from them. I don't know. Yeah, so here, for this one, I only want it to work if they're actually inside this hole here. So I need to bring this down like this. We're really too short. So if we are short, if we're low down, and they come to the room, they shouldn't be able to see us. I could do something quite fun in here. Like, just think like what'd be cinematic, what'd be moments and interesting moments for the player. Not necessarily realistic. But what if we did something like this? As an idea. So if the player is here, and obviously their head's not poking out and they can duck underneath this, they're shielded. So they basically can look out move this back a bit like this, they can watch the android walk in and be okay, but then, oh no, I want you to still see if you come this way. I don't know. Something to think about. Is your character a full model, just arms? If it's only arms, how do you handle reflections of the character? It's a full model. We just turn off the character model in the if the owner views it. And reflection wise, we're not worried about reflections. We're using screen reflections, so you're not worried about ray tracing stuff. But okay, let's think what else could be in this room as like a hiding spot type thing. So like hiding behind like these crates, for example, might be ideal. For crouch behind them at this sort of height. That we want that to be a valid hiding spot. Obviously the crate here is serving the double crate serving that same purpose just fine. But it's these little ones. Because you still want the player to be able to poke out the head and see, but don't want to be cool. Which is, you know, what we're trying to do here. That should be fine like that. Like the desks and computer tables, for example, are prime for this sort of stuff. So in the end, this is not going to need any code on it. It's literally just for collision purposes. So it's a bit tidier, isn't it? Can't get behind that. Oh, what happened there? What's that? What? Is that oh, yeah, it's doing it all for all of them. No. Did it? Yeah. It's like the LOD of it is busted. What the hell? That's tomorrow's problem. We'll worry about that tomorrow. But yeah, like hiding behind some of these sort of things here. That makes sense, wouldn't it? Like we can probably, if we can squeeze behind her, we hide behind that, I guess. I don't know. Hey, Zeto, Zetao. I think that's. Oh no, we've got a table over here we can hide behind. Yeah, so if we like hide here and see the android walk past, we're not going to get seen. Yeah. And that's what we want. Same go for this bit here. Okay, and that's it in here. Yeah, like these, like bushes, for example. You want to hide behind the bushes and look at through the bushes. Is a good example of this sort of thing being used. I'm overshooting by a little bit, by the way. The reason why I'm overshooting a little bit is to give the player a little bit of leeway. So if they're poking out a little bit, it's not the end of the world. It'll feel a bit more intense that way. Don't worry about the problems because they're tall enough already. Tables. Yeah, I guess so. You could hide behind the tables. So we'll do that. So I'm thinking of putting that in the middle like this. And then also one at each end, like this. Or actually, I could just do, if I just cover that, that should suffice, shouldn't it? Like, again, your normal standing height would be here, so you get seen if you're standing. If you're crouching, you'll be down here, therefore blocking. And down here, be blocking as well. Yeah, I think that'll do. Makes sense to me. And we've got another table here. Yeah, there we go. Like even things like this, where we can hide and duck behind the things. We don't want him to always see us. Don't make he's too good. He will spot you like a regular human being. But we want that Jason Voorhees type effect on the character where he has rubbish eyesight, basically. So if I do that, for example, these are effectively good hiding spots to go to. You can just hide here and watch him come down the stairs and he won't see you. Like there. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yes, okay. And same for this room. Let me just change to unlit so we can see more. So hide behind these consoles. Put in here. That'd be super exact. Likewise, like let's say you're standing here, and I'm crouched here. I'll still be able to see him, like peering over the top, but he won't be able to see me. He'll just keep walking past me. Yeah. Oh, hi, Vela. Vela. How you doing? I assume you're the same Vela that I used to teach years ago. Good to see you again. Same goes to this table. We'll do that here. Okay, do that. Same for like this. Like the pillar here is really tiny. Obviously, the collision profile of that is rubbish. I want to use something a bit more beefy. So we're going to scale this up a bit. And even for standing, we'll do this up. Right. Maybe not that thick. So the player, like, imagine they're getting chased. They're getting down here. They run around here and hide behind the pillar. They could stand here and hide while the android walks past, and they could like probably navigate a way around it. That makes sense. More computer stuff. Yeah, good. Oh, I hope you're doing well. Good to hear from you. Likewise, this one, same pillar. I'm going to make this have more of a blocky visibility block. So I can peer out from it. One thing I do want to make sure is that these are not blocking navigation. I don't think they are. Good. I want to put something else on here. So one thing we changed here as well in the last update was there used to be like a big battery thing here. It's now tied directly into the big key art thing. So yeah. Would that make sense for some assets to already calculate a shell based on the volume? So next time you don't need to do that for each asset. I mean, yeah, we could obviously make their collision profile be exactly like this. But yeah, the thing I was like saying, like for example, if I want to put like for example this on here, I don't want that to be obstructed by anything in the collision mesh of the object. Because it still needs to block those sort of interaction traces, because you don't want the player to be able to pick up things through walls and through objects. So you can sort of need like two shells. Like one shell would block one sort of trace, and the other one would block a different type of trace. So, yeah, I mean, you could, but I think that will cause other issues like that. Yeah, what we're seeing here. Like this. Hiding behind the bed. Yeah, notice I'm not changing the height because, again, I want it to be crouched behind here to be able to hide. If I stand up, I don't want it to be affected by that. Just realised the time I have to go. But hopefully the slight fixes we've done with the network connectivity have made that a bit more stable. We'll be doing some more tests this week with the beta testers. If you're a beta tester, look out for that update and my comments in Discord. More patrons will be invited to the beta as time goes on. We just want to get these key bugs sort of fixed first and foremost before going too deep into that. Yeah, if you want to be part of the closed beta, become a patron. Patrons will get access to the closed beta first. We eventually open up for more people as we go into things like early access and things like that. But yeah, so something like that we want to cover up. Yeah. How do we know this one isn't a mimic? Exactly. You don't know who to trust. You don't know who to believe. But that'll have to do for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and helping me decide a few things. Hopefully test it out and get it working in the next week. We should be live for question time this coming Wednesday. And once again, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel over the past 7 years we've been doing this, and getting us to that 100k number. Thank you so much. The next goal is 1 million, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. But you never know. So I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has watched the channel and subscribed over the years. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/Ryan Laley. We can get not access to videos early before anyone else, but also have a chance to get into the beta and other things and Discord and all that good stuff. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.